There is something we don't talk about enough as believers. We are always taught to have like a soft heart, be kind, be patient, forgive, endure. And yes, all of that is true. But what happens when softness in the wrong place starts destroying you? Like, uh, like what happens when that very heart you are trying to keep pure is the same heart being constantly wounded, drained, and misused? Because the truth is that not every situation requires a soft heart. Some situations they require strength. Some situations require boundaries. Some situations they require you to stand firm even when it feels uncomfortable. The Bible in Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23, it said, guard your heart with all diligence. Guard your heart. Because out of it flows the issues of life. Guard your heart. He didn't say give it away freely. He didn't say expose it carelessly. He said guard it. That means your heart is valuable. That means access to you shouldn't be automatic. It means not everyone deserves your softness. And this is where many people get it wrong. We keep softening our heart in places where God is actually calling us to be firm. You can see people staying in relationships that are draining them. We keep allowing behaviors that God has already shown us are not right. We keep forgiving without wisdom. We keep thinking that enduring pain is the same thing as love. But it's not. Even Jesus, who is love himself, did not respond the same way to everyone. There were moments he showed compassion, and there were moments he stood firm and refused to tolerate certain things. In Matthew chapter 7, verse 6, Jesus said, do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not cast your pearls before swine. That is a strong statement. What he's saying, discernment matters. Discernment matters. Everything in you is not for everyone. Your time, your energy, your vulnerability, your peace, these are precious things. If you keep offering them to people who do not value them, they will trample on them. Not because they hate you, but because they do not recognize what you are carrying. And that is where misplaced softness becomes dangerous. Because you start calling assets love. You start calling tolerance kindness. You start calling self-neglect sacrifice. But God never asks you to destroy yourself to prove love. Because the Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 33 says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. He did not say it might corrupt. He did not say sometimes corrupt. He said corrupts. So what happens when you keep softening your heart towards wrong company? What happens? You find out that you're slowly becoming affected. Your standards will begin to shift. Your convictions will begin to weaken. Your spiritual sensitivity begins to fade. Not suddenly, but gradually. To be happening gradually. Before you realize it, you are no longer as strong as you used to be. This is why there are moments where God is not asking you to be more open. He's asking you to be more guarded. There are moments where love does not look like staying. Love looks like stepping back. Love looks like saying no. Love looks like creating distance. Because if something is constantly pulling you away from God, it does not matter how emotional it feels, it is not healthy for you. And listen carefully. Setting boundaries does not mean that you have hatred in your heart. It means you have wisdom. Even the Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 6 to stand firm. He said, having done all, stand. Stand your ground. That means there are situations where you are not to bend. You're not meant to bend. You do not adjust your values to keep people. You do not adjust your values to keep people. You do not lower your standards to maintain relationship. You stand. You stand firm. But here's the balance, because it is important that we are not called to become hard-hearted people. We are not called to become cold. We are not called to become bitter or closed off. God still cares about the condition of your heart. In Ezekiel chapter 36, he says, I will remove the heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. So this is not about becoming hard towards everyone. This is about becoming wise. This is about becoming soft where God says you should be soft, and firm where God says you should be firm. Because if you are soft in the wrong places, you'll be broken unnecessarily. And if you are hard in the wrong places, you will miss what God is trying to do in your life. So the real prayer is not just, Lord, soften my heart, or Lord, make me strong. The real prayer is, Lord, teach me discernment. Teach me where to open my heart and where to guard it. Because not every door should be open. Not every relationship should be maintained. Not every situation deserves your emotional investment. And you need the wisdom of God to know the difference. The Bible in James chapter 1 verse 5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, and he will give it. So today, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Where have you been too soft? Where have you been allowing things that God has been quietly telling you to step away from? Where have you been ignoring the signs because you don't want to let go? Ask God for clarity. Ask him for courage. Because sometimes growth looks like walking away. Growth sometimes looks like being obedient. Sometimes obedience looks like closing the door. And sometimes protecting your heart It's the very thing that preserves your future. So guard your heart. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Guard your hearts.